Well, hello. Welcome to January 3rd, 2023. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation video. This is an exercise that I perform each and every morning just after waking up. It's now 4:27 a.m. I'm about 4 minutes behind schedule. I do this in order to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. And I also check to see how I did applying these to the challenges and opportunities that I encountered yesterday, including last night. And then I plan for the coming day. First, as I begin, let's talk about last night and yesterday. And good morning, Parker. First, last night, wow, I tamed the beast. Let me mark that down. I tried to mark down a title for yesterday and I forgot to do it, and I forgot it. This is very exciting. Really the first time ever that I can recall this happening. I suffer from a type of insomnia where I wake up an hour or two before the alarm goes off. My alarm goes off at 4 a.m. So I'm usually up between 2 and 3, tossing and turning, fretting and worrying. It's incessant. It diminishes a little bit when I have the weekends and over holidays, but then comes back with a vengeance when my work week begins. I'm coming off of a 5-day holiday from the New Year's. It came back with a vengeance, and I knew it was coming. I was anticipating it for the last 48 hours. I thought it would be back really bad. But I tamed it last night. I did wake up probably about 2 a.m. and I did toss and turn for maybe an hour. And then I defeated the beast. I turned it into a purring pussycat in my lap. I didn't get back to sleep, but the anxiety and worry and all the pain, it is a type of pain, ceased. And I know why I did it, and I know how I did it. Let me recount it real quick. So, heading into the new year, I resolved to take better control of my mental framework. This all came about due to a comment that Juan had given me in early December, indicating that I needed to visualize better outcomes for my projects and for the things that worry me, that would have an impact. He commented that would have an impact. Well, he didn't really comment much about what the impact would be. In fact, he just recommended that as a tip. Now, I've never been one necessarily for exercises like that, and I don't know why, but given that it came from Juan, who I respect greatly, and who is a man who basically lives the life that I'm striving to live in terms of just every way. He's an incredible human being. I decided to give it a try. It's not the first time I've encountered this idea, but it's the first time I've tried it in earnest, spurred on by Juan's example and recommendation. So I began by, throughout the work week, I mainly focused it on my job. As I was picturing something that needed to be done, I visualized it completing successfully. And I can't say that I've necessarily seen any particular results from that. Maybe I was just lucky. Maybe things have been working out good. Things have been good. And maybe they just would have been good on their own. But, I keep it up. But I did notice that there was some mild relief in my stress, my daytime stress, because of this. Going into meetings, I was less anxious. I wasn't really focused on outcome. I wasn't metrics driven necessarily, but I did notice that it seemed to be working, at least in terms of making my workday a little easier. It wasn't until like the last week of December that I decided to start doing this with my mornings, picturing the night before what the day would look like in the morning, the routine that I would have, how I would get up and how I would go through the day, preparing things, doing this video, feeding my dogs, walking my dogs, reading my Bible, all the things that I do every morning, and then starting my workday. Then I began to And I really can't say I saw results in that from that either. But it wasn't until I decided to start doing this in the moment when I was waking up to fighting the beast, as I was saying, when I would wake up to start wrestling with it and visualizing it instead of letting the beast show me a PowerPoint presentation of potential disaster. I instead told the beast to sit down. And for example, I'll give you some concrete examples. I have one of my projects has some deliverables that are due next week. I sat the beast down and I showed the beast how we can deliver on those things. And I explained to the beast that if there is any part of the deliverable that can't be met, that we have a plan to handle that as well. And I reminded the beast that this project, though it is an important project, it's really just moving websites. And it's the consequences of not getting one out there in time are, how do I say it without belittling my project? It's an important project and it's vital that we do it right, but it's not the end of the world. And we do have a way to mitigate that. And I can explain, I can see how we have these different stages of things. And I was telling the beast, we'll work really hard to get everything done for each stage. We call them waves. If anything is left behind, we'll move it into the next wave and we'll bring that out in the next wave. I said, we have a plan, beast. We have a way to deal with this stuff and we will execute to the best of our ability. But it's not worth tossing and turning about like this. It's not worth feeling my stomach turning into a knot or the pressure on my heart in the chest area. It's just moving websites. And we've got a way to do it, and it's hard, and yeah, the contract tells us we have to do it with certain limitations, etc., and we'll mitigate that. And then when I went ahead and did that, with all of each of the things that the beast then stood up and said, but you've got a steering committee meeting today, Kurt. What are you going to tell them? You know, and I, even though I prepared my presentation for the steering committee meeting last week. The beast was like, what are you going to do? There were like 2 or 3 slides that you weren't quite ready. And I sat the beast down and I said, listen, beast, we've got a way to do this. It's only a half-hour meeting. I've got everything laid out that I'm going to do. We're going to talk about status, budget, the state of our current wave, and the issues that we're managing. That's all there is to it. It's a pretty straightforward thing. And then the beast was quiet. One thing after another. As the beast raised it up, I talked it down with reason, and that's what I did. I talked it down with reason. And then suddenly, the beast fell quiet. Now I was still awake, and I found my mind stirring. So I did something that was kind of more of a combination of living here at the beach now, and the fact that I'm reading Lawrence Krauss's A Universe from Nothing, which is a sobering account of the universe, and something that is humbling as well, right? From any desire to seem important or to feel like we're significant in some way. Well, we certainly seem to be significant in terms of life in the universe, but I expect that life is everywhere. Anyway, I'm kind of getting off the topic here. What I did was, to prevent the beast from coming back, I pictured myself walking on an infinite beach in the pre-dawn hours with the waves crashing, basically just like here at Huntington Beach. The waves crashing off in the distance in the night, and kind of a mild filter on everything around me, walking just where the water creeps up. The sheets of water come up and recede back, so that with every step as the water comes up, the waves come and wash my footprints away. Really all I have is the immediate immediate steps and a fading impression of steps that in my immediate wake that then disappear with the next wave. As I did that, I precluded the beast's return. I removed the beast from the scene, and I was left with a peaceful, quiet walk. I then told myself, when the alarm goes off at 4 a.m., I'm going to wake up grateful for another day. Not just another day of life, but another day of work. Because my work is useful work. I get to do really good things. I work for the government. I get to help people. That's an exciting thing. It's a good thing. Especially given my main purpose in life is virtue, to help to improve the well-being of thinking creatures, particularly us. So I said, I'm going to get up. I'm going to be excited for the day. And I'm going to, with a spring in my step, I'll go in, I'll clean up, I'll do my video, I'll upload it, I'll read my Bible, I'll feed my dogs, walk the dogs. Well, they won't want to walk this morning, it's raining. So I'll open the door and let them go out to the yard to do their business. And then I'll come back and I'll fire up the computer and I'll sit at my desk and I'll start my day in earnest. And it won't be a begrudged day or a regretful day or an anxious day, but it'll be a peaceful, happy day of solid endeavor. And I'll do my meetings. I'll take care of my email. I'll attend to the tasks that need to be done. I'll go to that steering committee and lead that meeting and explain our status and answer questions. And then I'll finish the day strong. And then when the day is done, I'll turn the computer off. I'll grab my swimsuit. I'll go to the beach. I'll run into the sea. Get cold and wet and sandy. Come home. Have a really good dinner with my wife. I'll watch an episode of Midnight Diner while Yumiko cooks, and I'll cry at the end. Always so moved by that show. And then Yumiko and I will have dinner. We'll be exhausted, but happy. We'll have we got some chocolates for a gift for Christmas. We'll have a chocolate each for dessert, and then I'll go to bed. And I'll do the same tomorrow. Grateful and happy to be alive. And when the beast arises, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll tame it again. I'll remind the beast that my projects are important, but they are not that important. They are significant, but they're not so significant that anyone should suffer in the middle of the night. We're doing our best. We're doing a good job, in fact. We will get it. We will get all of those websites moved. Plus my other projects, I'll do all of them as well. That's a given. I've always done it. I've always managed to fulfill my job. That's always been done. Sometimes at the price of my well-being. But I think I have a tool, thanks to Juan, that will help me to overcome that. Thank you, Juan. I'm learning and getting better. Thank you, Juan, for helping me. And finally, when the beast threatens to creep back, it'll see me walking there alone on the sand in that imaginary beach. Infinite beach ahead of me and behind me. No one around. Pre-dawn, fog, crashing waves washing away my footsteps, just as time is washing away almost everything that I am as each moment passes. And in this way, I will manage my thoughts. This is the big press forward for 2023. The big press forward is to becoming the master of my own thinking. All right. That was yesterday. I'd say the year's off to a pretty good start. Okay, let's do the good life. I developed the Good Life Creed as a means of providing some guidance and a way forward after my experience of going alone. the experience of discovering and, finally believing that God doesn't exist and that I don't have a soul. None of us do. There is no afterlife, no heaven or hell, just death and oblivion. And what then to do with that belief? Because if that's the case, then what purpose is life? What good is it? Well, in short, there's no purpose, there's no good. It's all kind of for naught. In an absolute sense. But that doesn't mean that we can't suffer and we can't know joy. And we can indeed do both of those things. And babies are born into the world and old people die. And in the space between, we can work to make that experience as pleasant as possible, even happy, for as many as possible. So even though there is no final end or objective, that we can, or the objective to the universe, no guiding light, we can make one of our own. And that's why I put together the Good Life Creed, which provides me with 7 life objectives and 33 principles to achieve those objectives. And let's go over those one by one now. The 7 objectives are as follows. Number 1 is to be always ready to die. I want to have my life affairs, my relationships, and my personal mission in a good state, so that if I keel over with an aneurysm or a heart attack right now, I don't leave my family in. I leave them in the least state of confusion possible. They know where to find the bank accounts. Everyone knows I love them. And my book is done. And all of those things are true. So my first objective is met. And I work hard to keep it met every day. My second objective is to make good and effective use of time. To not waste today, January 3rd, 2023, but to get to the other side of this day, having produced good quality life. Quality being measured by my own standards, which are, again, the improved well-being, improving the well-being of thinking creatures. My third objective is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles and objectives. Exactly what I'm doing right now when I tinker with the Good Life Creed. I am fulfilling this particular objective, and I do it every day. I never miss a day. I almost always do it in the video too. If rare time that you don't see a video uploaded, I still did it in my head. The next objective is to cultivate good emotional reactions, to become someone who reacts well to the circumstances of the day. And boy, am I armed now with my seeming newly found tool for taming the beast. Did I forget to thank Juan? Thank you, Juan. Maybe that's what I'll call this. Thank you, Juan. Next is objective number 5, to perform good actions, simply to do good things throughout the day, things that make a difference. Number 6 is to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities, so that I'm not wasting my energies trying to grab at bananas I can't reach through the bars, and spending my time instead on things that are within the scope of my control. And finally, number 7 is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and carefully and deliberately. All right, those are my 7 objectives. Those are the things that I'm striving to do in the course of my life. To get there and to help me to achieve those ends, I have 33 principles as follows. Number 1 is the principle of war. To always be fighting against things that I already believe, ideas that I already believe, and ideas that are proposed to me that I should onboard, either proposed by others or proposed by myself. I want to run them through the ringer before I accept them as true. Number 2 is the principle of reason. And there are 3 or 4 sub-principles here. Honesty, objectivity, doubt, and humiliation. 4. I want to be honest with myself and others, and objective in my view. I want to be a fierce skeptic, and I want to welcome the humiliation of discovering that I'm wrong and be grateful for such a feeling. Now, the next 2 principles go together. That happens several times in this creed. There are principles that are kind of clustered together for a reason, because they tell a story in a way, and their order in which they're laid out also is important. The next 2 are, they're funny names. Homunculus, which is just the old, and it's an old word. These are real words that describes the man within the man, or the woman within the woman. Homunculus, and then the anchor hold. And the anchor hold was, back in the medieval period, like a walled structure at the side of a European church, where an anchorite or an anchoress, a man or a woman who had devoted themselves to the faith, would be walled in with a little hole, a squint they called it, that they could look through and watch the surface, and food could be passed in and waste passed out. I put these here together for a reason. The homunculus is my answer to my belief that we don't have a soul. Instead, what we have is a consciousness, clearly. And that consciousness resides within us. And the anchor hold tells me that it's stuck to this mortal coil. And when I die, the homunculus will go with me. So it's a reminder that I don't have a soul, but I do have a consciousness, and it ain't getting out. Oblivion awaits. Okay, next, number 4, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sorry. Number 5 is a principle called the home of good and evil. Since I don't believe in God, and I don't believe that there's any 10 commandments that prescribe some absolute law, it seems to me, or any other religion that's prescription of absolutes, it seems to me that it's up to us then to decide what good and evil are, right and wrong. These are opinions that we hold, and they are subjective at their core. The home then of good and evil is in our brains, and it's up to us to work hard, again, to formulate good concepts of right and wrong, so that we are as fair and just as possible, and to work with others to achieve those ends, and to reach some sort of an agreement about them. More about that when I get to the social principle. The next principle is purpose. There are 3 purpose in my life. Number 1 is to be a good husband and father. That's my first purpose, my primary purpose in life. Number 2 is to be a virtuous human being, where I define virtue as activities that help to improve the well-being of thinking creatures in particular. And number 3 is to promote whatever individual purpose I select for my life, which for me is the sharing of my book, Going Alone. The story of how I went into the wilderness and came back without God, and how I then worked to build a program and a plan, a human operating system that I could use to squeeze out virtue and goodness from a life that is otherwise, without absolute direction. Doing the hard work of figuring out how to live well and create a meaningful life, creating purpose in a universe without apparent meaning. Okay, there's a lot wrapped up in that one. The next principle is called the atomic principle, which is nothing more than my reminder that I am going to dissolve. I am made of atoms and molecules, just as you are, just as everything is. Everything is not energy, that is. And we are subject to assembly and dissolution. That's simple. It's good to remember that because it keeps us humble as mortals. Next, the next principle is the principle of nature, a reminder that everything has some particular nature. It's a nature of a Tuesday. I have a steering committee meeting today. I have several meetings like that I have to attend to. I just felt a little rush of anxiety wafted up from within, remembering another meeting that I have that I don't know that I'm ready for. Okay, beast. I do have an agenda. It's in my head already. I thought about it. It's just not laid out anywhere. In fact, it is laid out. I did lay it out on Wednesday. So anyway, I'm totally got ambushed here, didn't I? Sorry, back on track. But that's the nature of a Tuesday, is to ambush me, sometimes with worry about work. You get the idea. The principle of nature just reminds me that it's good to recognize the nature of circumstance, the nature of places, the nature of people, and the nature of even days. Okay, next is a funny principle called the pirate ride, which is my suggestion that I don't have that the universe, pardon me, I got confused there for a second. The pirate ride suggests that free will is an illusion. It's a very convincing illusion. I sure do feel like I'm choosing my words. Like I chose to wear this shirt. I chose to just have a sip of coffee now. Or not. These all feel like my conscious decisions, but I don't think we own these. I think the universe has so much to say, the universe at large, not in any sentient way, but more like it has a say in things. Insofar as the universe is a cascading series of consequences and events and consequences over and over again that are pressing and pushing us on either side, that our brains become like decision engines, but less in an absolute sense and more of a reactionary sense. That's what I mean by this principle. Okay, I feel myself kind of slipping just a little bit here now. I feel a little wave of fatigue. It's okay. I can fortify myself and push through this. Okay, after the pirate ride comes the principle called maturity, which has 3 sub-principles: wisdom, fortitude, and integrity. Maturity is the state we arrive at when we've gained enough experience, had enough success and failure to be able to make an improved path forward in life. But we need fortitude to do better, to not repeat our mistakes. Integrity is the resulting state where our actions are in better alignment with our values by virtue of our experience and the will to make better choices. There we go. Okay, next comes the social principle. We are social creatures. We need each other, and our best ends are social ends. The sub-principles here are diplomacy, justice, conspiracy. Diplomacy is what we do when we work together to decide what constitutes justice, and then we link arms and to conspire together to make that justice real. It's good to be a social creature. It's good to come back to society after going alone, to put on a nice shirt and participate. Next comes the principle of family. And I want to thank Evelyn for her comment yesterday on Facebook. She helped me to recognize that I need to expand this a little bit. The principle of family is my recognition of the importance of creating a kind of a nucleus for our life, a nucleus of people. I want to point out, though, that it doesn't have to be the traditional nuclear family. It can be whatever formulation of connections that we like. The important thing is that it's people connecting and creating an infrastructure of sort. A family is the right word. Of connection and support. And it can be with anybody we like that wants to be in our family, friends as well as relatives. So thanks, Evelyn, for pointing out to me that, or she asked me basically, oh, what about people who haven't, formed the conventional, traditional family structure? You too can have a family, right? It's just the family of your choosing, which in the end, that's all it is in every case. Some people just choose their family that resembles resembles the postcard. Others have a family that resembles a new kind of postcard. Either one will do quite well. In fact, the latter one sometimes is more reflective of a deliberate effort rather than a reactive family creation of family that looks like the postcard, but maybe not be what we generally want, so be careful. Okay, the next principle is called public speaking. It's a suggestion to become a very good communicator, both a listener and a speaker. And the sub-principles here are best words, which suggest that we cultivate a rich vocabulary and then use that vocabulary well, choosing the right words for the moment. Not flashy, but appropriate. Then comes eloquence, which is something we gain through practice. Then prudence, the ability to filter our communication through our values. And then felicity, the ability to filter our communication through our feelings. And then there's two negatives. I want to avoid engaging in gossip, and I want to avoid spreading rumor. Okay, after that, there come five. This is where we've got 5 principles that go together. These are temperance. Life will not go well. The horror show. That which must be borne. And finally, I think I've got it right. Why do I feel like I'm missing the mark here? Oh yeah, the Feast of Offal, there you go. Okay, temperance is our ability to control our everything, right? Control our consumption, control our emotions, control our expression. Life will not go well is a reminder that things are going to be tricky. Like I'm 34 minutes into this video, and at about the 30-minute mark, I felt my body start to go, ugh. So that's an example of that. And throughout the day, this is going to happen. These types of things. Flat tire on the way to work. You name it. Life will not go well. The horror show is when it doesn't go well in a terrible way. Cancer diagnosis, horrible accident, the dog gets run over. You name it. These are horror show level events. They're beyond the normal scale of just annoying things that happen along the way. That which must be borne suggests that it's our mission, it's our responsibility as adults to bear these things. We can go to our family and our friends, but we have to bear it to the best of our ability. And then the Feast of Woeful is a caution to not let our upset spill out over onto others, nor to consume the upset of others when they decide that they want to make a public display of that. Yeah, I got through those 5 pretty quick. Yeah, I think I covered them well. Next is a principle called the best seat in the house. A reminder to be all right, to attempt to be all right with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing, all the while working towards improvement. It's a curious balancing act, that one. Then comes distraction and agency and the great indifference, which I feel like they might have belonged earlier. Let me take a look. Did I get these out of order? So all of these objectives and principles are in my book going along in a chapter called The Good Life. It's near the back. The restless man, the path of wild. Oh, that's went too far. No, I got it right. He's still woeful? Yep. I'm on track. So distraction and agency and the great indifference. Distraction is what we do throughout our lives so that we don't have to face down the emptiness of the universe. We don't have to recognize that we're alone, and we distract ourselves with everything. Our school and our work and our play and our home and our jobs and our church and our God. All day long, every day. A lot of us get through our whole lives distracted, la, 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 la. Yet, if we stop the distraction and we go alone into an empty desert, for example, we might face down the emptiness of the universe, but it's got to be the right kind of empty. There, I sound like a religious, don't I? You got to do it just right to see it. In fact, you don't have to go anywhere. It's evident here as well. The great indifference, the apparent fact, what seems to be the fact that we're alone. I try not to distract myself too much, and I try to face down the emptiness, because then that motivates me to do better, to work hard on the good life, and to work hard to be a good man. Okay, got through those. Now I've got 4 principles that go together. These are the restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, and the risk of avoiding risk. The restless man suggests that for most of us, typically in our teens and early 20s, we kind of feel a restlessness that we want to have some adventure, some experience in life. And if we embark upon that, we step upon what I call the path of wildness, which is the off-ramp from a current safe and sane into a new world. What results is a great life adventure, where we create a story in our centerpiece of the life that we've lived, that we can carry with us all of our days. And it's good to invest in having that from an early age, so that when we get it done, when we're best able to recover from the folly that can come of that. Well, that's not easy. If you wait, it gets harder to do. I saw an old man and an old woman the other day. Their old car had stopped on the road on the other side of the street. Old, classic old car right in front of Main Street there, right by the pier. And young men had spilled out of their cars to push them to the side of the road. And I saw the old man and the old woman in the car. Didn't know what to do. Too old and afraid and frail to take action. And it reminded me that the time for action is when we're young. And if you're gonna drive, or my wife even commented, she said, as I told her the story, she said, I guess that the lesson from that is, if you're old, drive a reliable car so you don't get stuck in the middle of the street. And they literally were just sitting there waiting for the community to rescue them. Just the guy with his hands on the wheels. If he was 30, 40 years younger, he would have gotten out of the car and, opened the door and started to push while holding the wheel. That's what I would have done. That's what I would still do now. But you get to a point where you're too old and frail and weak, scared, No room for a great life adventure at that point, or not much. That's the thing. The older we get, the less willing or able we are to have that adventure. And we know it. And what comes of that in old age is, it's like having sex when you're old, right? I mean, you might be able to get her done, but it ain't going to quite be the same. That's actually a really good way to look at it. Even in terms of the potency, right? I mean, if you're a dude and you're going to get a woman pregnant, well, I think you can see the picture, right? Likewise, if you're a woman, right? I mean, there's a season for that too, right? I mean, I think that really holds up. Yeah, get her done when you're young. Or get him done. Anyway, back on track. I think I've covered all of that. Next comes the risk of avoiding risk. It's the fourth of the four principles. This is the suggestion that if you wait too long, you lose your chance. I think I covered that already, right? I mean, with the old man, right? Okay, now comes sin and damnation, the next principle. I don't believe in any God that we can sin against or any afterlife or anything, but of course, I've mentioned that several times already, but I do believe we can sin against good living, and that sin comes in being untrue, believing things that may be untrue, and being a rumor, spreading rumors, or engaging in gossip. So there's 8 of them, 8 sins. Falsity, being untrue. Credulity, believing things too readily. I'm repeating myself, aren't I? Faith, belief that's founded on belief. Superstition, belief that is categorically identified as nonsense. Dogma, belief based on tradition and history. Authority, belief based on being impressed by someone's speech or eloquence or dogma or rhetoric, and rumor and gossip. The result of these is damnation in the here and now. Being a damn fool, a damn liar, damn gossiper, damn spreader of rumors. Okay, I just felt a little wave of anxiety rise up. Realizing I'm getting to the end of this, and I'm going to soon have to go back to work. See, the beast is in there. It's like in a cage, rattling the cage around inside. Okay, let me out. No, I've got you covered tonight with Juan's help. All right, that was sin and damnation. Oh, the next one is complete oblivion. After we're dead, since there is no soul and no God and no afterlife, that means that's the end. There won't be any reunion with loved ones, which means there's no chance for reconciliation of differences and no final justice. The only chance we get for it to do any of those things is in the life that we live. Next is the bullseye aim, shooting for the mark but usually missing. The uphill climb, finishing today a little higher up the mountain of life than yesterday. It's not really a mountain of sorts, it's just having a broader view and perspective. Like I will finish the day with a broader perspective by virtue of my experience this morning with my anxiety and how I handle it throughout the day today. The next one is arena and utility. Recognizing that life is an arena where we can utilize our principle in the pursuit of objectives that we've decided for ourselves. There's 2 more left, just 2. Nothing is enough. A suggestion towards less. And strangely, I've decided to make this the home of this activity that I'm doing, this mental self-discipline. It may not be the right home, but it's existing there now. It's up there on that shelf with it. I need to give a better title for this, and I don't know, I need to work on this. I will. Someone wrote to me yesterday asking, they said they wanted to buy a copy of Going Alone, but they wanted to wait until I was really done with it. And they asked if I was done. And now I'm thinking, I'm going to change it because I'm going to find a way to fit this new mental tool in here. So Maybe that may not be done. It's close though. Okay, then lastly, last principle is the principle of fun. A reminder to enjoy my life. Yesterday I made an itinerary for our upcoming trip to Japan, and I did that due to the principle of fun, because the principle of fun suggests that I need to enjoy the days that I'm living, and also enjoy the remembrance of the days that have passed, and the anticipation of the days to come. And I am deliberately taking conscious effort to prepare for this trip to Japan, to enjoy the planning of it, to enjoy the anticipation. What that really is, having fun and enjoying life, is the fruit of good living. And I'm going to do that. I'm also going to work really hard. I'm also going to get through my, deal with my anxiety and stress and worry. And pain, literally physical pain. I have arthritis now, so that's starting to do its thing. All right, I think I've made it through my good life creed for today. Now, that's all that remains is to plan for the coming day. So I'm going to finish this video. I'll hit the stop button in just a second. Then I'll upload it, and I'll type a little bit out for it. Then from there, I'll fire up the computer, and then I'll walk over and read my Bible. Then I'll feed my dogs, open the door and let them out. And then I'll come back and I'll assemble myself. I'll get the computer all set up for work, and I will begin my workday in earnest. But I do have another task, another goal, which is to read a full chapter every day. So I'll read a little bit before I get started with that. Maybe pace, I kind of walk around and help to burn a few calories while I do that, even in my little office here. I'll walk around. Then I'll begin my workday in earnest at 6:30 a.m., which is about an hour and 15 minutes away. Thanks for joining me today. I wish you all the best. Remember, be safe, but not too safe. And with that, my workday is done. And once more, thank you, Juan.